Sergeant Ethan Newberg has been charged with 32 criminal counts of false imprisonment, assault, and misconduct. And I'm the host of the Police Accountability Report, and I am here with breaking news. Sergeant Ethan Newberg has been charged with 32 criminal counts of false imprisonment, assault, and misconduct. I'm here with my co-host Stephen Janis to talk about these charges. So, Stephen, tell me a little bit about some of these charges against Sergeant Ethan Newberg, who also is paid roughly $250,000 a year by the city, $243,000 a year. So tell us a little bit about what the city's been paying for.
So he's a Baltimore police officer, just to establish this, and he has been arrested before for arresting people for speaking at a crime scene, well, a scene during an arrest. So these charges are just sort of an extension of what he's already been charged with. A series of 10 or 11 incidents in which a person was either minding their own business, let's say inside their own home, driving, parked, and he arrests them. Arrests them with no pretense, with no criminal basis, with no completely unfounded arrests for a variety of random encounters, like one with a FedEx guy who happened parked behind a scene where he was, and he tells the FedEx guy, "You got to get out here," and the FedEx guy, he arrests him and then calls his job to try to get him fired. A situation where a man is inside his home watching what police activity. He tells a guy to come out of his house, and then arrests him for jeopardizing a police officer.
Didn't he actually ask a subordinate of his to arrest the man when he came out of the house?
Yes.
So when he followed Officer Newberg's instructions, it led to his arrest.
Right, and then another arrest where he saw a guy across the street, said to one of his subordinates, "Hey, we chased this guy before, remember? Let's go arrest him." And he arrests him. And in every case, it's something absolutely that you cannot arrest a person for, and it shows how the Baltimore Police Department operates, because this has come after the consent decree with the federal government. This has come after a Justice Department report found unconstitutional racist policing, and also shows how disruptive policing is to the lives of the people of the city.
Absolutely. So there is a question I have. This all comes from body camera footage.
Right.
So exactly where did this body camera footage come from? I mean, is this the police department holding him accountable? Who's holding him accountable here?
Well, this is a great point. One of the things we talked about in Police Accountability Report is the fact that police departments do not hold themselves accountable. This came completely from Marilyn Mosby's office, the state's attorney of Baltimore City, and it came because after they found this initial body cam footage that was questionable, they requested all his body cam footage for 6 months. Officer Newberg was not turning in his body cam footage from arrests, which is what you're supposed to do. So in other words, he's arresting people, then not turning in the body cam footage. And so basically what happened is they requested all the footage, and then they went through it, and they found more and more and more cases. Let's listen to what Mosby has to say about it.
The indictment alleges that Sergeant Newberg, acting beyond the scope of his authority, engaged in a common pattern and practice of harassment and intimidation to knowingly, intentionally, and unlawfully harass, detain, and assault law-abiding citizens for the improper purpose of dominating, intimidating, and instilling fear in the citizens of Baltimore City.
So as you can see, this was really initiated by the state's attorney, who, by the way, have charged 54 officers in the past couple of years, and just recently exonerated people for their conviction integrity units. So really, right now, the police department is not functional in terms of holding itself accountable.
It's interesting that since this is not even a full year's worth of body camera footage,
right,
and there is 32 criminal charges against him, we can only imagine what we would find if we had access to all of Officer Newberg's body camera footage.
Right, and the thing is that, body cam footage is only turned in when it's related directly to an arrest. So there could be dozens of encounters, that we don't see where something happens.
Right.
But also, he was supposed to turn his body cam footage in from each of these incidents because it was tied to an arrest, and he just didn't do it. So what that tells you is police officers aren't complying with the law or complying with the regulations of the department about how to use their body cam footage. So again, even though we, or as a society, we put these sort of rules in place to ensure that police behave correctly, they have the power to ignore them, and they ignore them constantly. And this is a great example, and that was a good question.
What's interesting is I was reading in this that there was a woman who was detained simply for not minding her own business. That's a quote from Sergeant Newberg himself. So,
and there's another great quote he says, "We make the rules out here," which is very interesting and very, I think, illustrative.
Because aren't they supposed to be following laws, not making up rules?
Exactly. Police officers do not make the laws. The government makes the laws, or supposedly we make the laws. But as he was pointing out, and I think quite accurately, when it comes to the streets, Baltimore City Police do what the hell they want.
So thank you so much for joining us. We're going to follow up on this and keep you updated. My name is Taya Graham. This is Stephen Janis. Thank you for joining me for this exclusive breaking update of the Police Accountability Report.